Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is the complete review of the Infinix Hot 10 after 45 days of its launch. So here's the phone, this is how the phone looks on the front and this is how the phone looks on the back. Infinix has launched this phone in India in two variants. Base variant is priced at 9,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. Next variant is priced at 11,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It's available in 4 colors: Ocean Wave, Moonlight Jade, Amber Red and Obsidian Black. This is how the Moonlight Jade looks like. I've already posted the unboxing video, so you can check that out for complete specifications and initial impressions. With that said, I will start off the review with the design and build. Infinix Hot 10 is definitely one of the best looking phones under 10,000 rupees, especially if you consider the base variant. On the front you get a display with a punch hole design, and that too at a 9,000 rupees where none of the competition is offering such a phone. And that's one of the selling points for this phone. Now besides that, on the back this phone has a plastic back panel with a pretty cool wave pattern on the back. Personally, I'm not really that impressed with the pattern, but overall build quality is pretty decent. It has a thickness of 8.8 mm and weighs 204 grams. In hand it feels slightly thick and has a bit of weight to it. But I really can't complain because this phone packs a huge 5000 mAh battery. Besides that, even the buttons on this phone are pretty good. They are sufficiently elevated and have a nice clicky feel to them. On the rear we also get the fingerprint scanner, which is easily accessible to the index finger. So overall, in terms of design and build, I really don't have any complaints. Now when it comes to the hardware department, it comes with all the basic sensors including a fingerprint scanner, face unlock feature. It also has a dedicated SD card slot, so even if you get the base variant with 64GB of space, you won't be missing out too much in terms of storage. Here's the SIM card tray, and yes, it also supports dual SIM. Now haptic engine on this phone is pretty average, I would say. It's decent, it's usable, and doesn't feel too cheap. As for the fingerprint scanner, it is pretty fast, almost instantaneous. As for face unlock feature, in good lighting conditions it is pretty fast. Takes like half a second to unlock the phone. And in complete darkness, sometimes it doesn't work, and even if it works, it takes to 2 to 3 seconds. Overall face unlock works and it is pretty usable. Now as for the auto brightness sensor, once again it works, but it is slightly slower. Like adaptation to the different lighting conditions is slightly slower, but it is manageable. By the way, it also has FM radio, just in case if you're wondering. So overall, in the hardware department, nothing's missing and everything works pretty fine. Next, when it comes to display, this one has a 6.7-inch HD Plus display with 91.5% screen to body ratio with a peak brightness of 480 nits. Color reproduction is good, brightness levels are pretty good, above 60%, and if you go below 60%, display feels slightly dimmer than usual. Sunlight legibility is also pretty decent. Because of the huge display and punch hole design, you get a much more immersive experience than other phones in this price segment, whether you're watching videos or playing games. For regular usage, whether it's browsing or watching videos or playing even smaller games, I didn't notice any issues with the resolution of the display. But while playing graphic intensive games, say like Asphalt 9, at times, display did feel pixelated. Besides that little thing, I didn't have any issues with the resolution of the display. So overall, display on this phone is pretty good, and it is one of the best looking displays out there, especially because of that punch hole design. Now when it comes to cameras, on the rear this phone has a quad camera setup with a 16 megapixel primary camera with f1.85 aperture, a 2 megapixel depth sensor, a 2 megapixel macro lens, and a low light sensor. For selfies, it has an 8 megapixel camera with dual LED flash. In good lighting conditions, image looks slightly duller, but they have much more contrast than your regular pictures, and they have good color reproduction. In close-up shots, once again colors look much more saturated and have much more contrast than the real colors. Even the macro mode works pretty well, you get a nice natural bokeh effect, and once again, colors have much more contrast. As for selfies, they do look good, color reproduction is good, even the dynamic range and exposure control are very well managed. As for portrait shots, edge detection is good, it's not perfect but it's usable. Color reproduction is good, but colors are slightly saturated and they have a bit of contrast to them. Overall, they do look good. As for portrait selfies, they do look pretty similar to regular selfies, but with a nice background blur effect. As for video recording, we can record video in 1080p resolution using both the front and rear cameras. In fact, for the rear camera, we can also record video in 2K resolution. Here's the sample footage. Color reproduction and exposure control are pretty decent, but there's no electronic image stabilization. Considering the base price of 9,000 rupees, that's pretty manageable. Even in low lighting conditions, this phone performs pretty well. So when it comes to cameras, they are pretty good and one of the best cameras that you can get under 10,000 rupees. As for performance, this phone sports a MediaTek Helio G70 processor with Mali G52 GPU with up to 6GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 128GB of storage. These are the benchmark scores. At a starting price of 9,000 rupees, it is definitely the most powerful phone that you can get. When it comes to gaming experience, once again it is top notch. HD resolution might bring down the gaming experience in terms of visuals, but because of the same HD resolution, we can get the best gaming experience. In my gaming review, I played games like Asphalt 9 and Call of Duty, and I didn't notice any lag. And the highest temperature phone reached after 15 minutes of continuous gameplay was just 38 degrees, and the phone just felt warm. So gaming performance of this phone is pretty good, and there are no heating issues as well. So if you're looking for a gaming phone around 9,000 rupees, this is something you can definitely consider. Now when it comes to software, this phone is running XOS version 7.0 based on Android 10. When we unboxed this phone, it has August security patch. Right now it is a September security patch. And it should be getting the latest security update pretty soon. Overall software experience on this phone has been pretty smooth. Like there's no lag whatsoever. Honestly, it is one of the best Infinix phones that I've used recently, like in terms of overall smoothness. All the transitions and animations are very smooth, and with the navigation gestures, it feels even more smoother. Infinix also added new software features like Social Turbo, which will allow you to record WhatsApp calls, read WhatsApp messages secretly, and also use beauty mode on WhatsApp calls. Besides that, we also have a lot more gestures, and in the battery department, we have ultra power saving mode, which actually stops applications from running in the background and gives you access to basic apps like phone dialer and SMS, but drastically improves the phone's standby time. So even in terms of software features, it is pretty loaded. As for memory management, once again it is pretty good. It was able to use most of the recently used applications in memory. I am currently using the 6GB RAM variant, but the results should be pretty similar even with the 4GB RAM variant. Now when it comes to audio, this phone has a single speaker at the bottom that supports DTS HD surround sound, and it is pretty loud. Here's a quick audio sample. At 100% volume, there is a bit of audio distortion, so I suggest you to put it at 90%. Overall speaker loudness is good enough for media consumption, ringtones and alarms. As for audio experience over headset, it is pretty decent, nothing good or bad to talk about. Now finally, when it comes to the battery department, this phone sports a massive 5200 mAh battery, comes with a regular 10 watts power adapter, but also supports 18 watts fast charging. If you use the 18 watts fast charger, you can charge this phone in about 2.5 hours. If you use the regular 10 watts power adapter, it takes more than 4 hours. As for battery life, it can easily last you 2 days if you're a normal user. Even if you're a heavy user and play a lot of games, it can easily last you an entire day. In my gaming review, for 15 minutes of continuous gameplay, phone just used about 3% of battery, which is actually pretty great. Besides that, we also have the ultra power saving mode, which can drastically improve the standby time if you are really running low on the battery. So guys, to conclude, Infinix Hot 10 is a pretty good phone with a great display, huge battery and great performance. It's a great value for money as well, but that applies only for the base variant priced at 9,000 rupees. At 11,000 rupees, I would recommend you to get the Infinix Note 7 instead, which actually comes with a bigger display, better cameras, and also has a 18 watts power adapter inside the box. So if you're looking for the best phone under 10,000 rupees, you can definitely go for the Infinix Hot 10, but if you can spend about 11,000 rupees, I would suggest you to go with the Infinix Note 7 instead. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description, it always helps the channel. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.